Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Travel in Time with Dan show. Today I am in Hamden, Connecticut at the Eli Whitney Museum. Such a marvelous place here. There's the Eli Whitney Museum. Here's a really cool bridge. It's on the property. If you look through the bridge all the way back there, you see Eli Whitney's coal shed, which is like the oldest surviving building on this property, all right? So it's right out here. You see right out here, you're gonna see there's Whitney Street out there, and it's surrounded by this whole really cool little Whitneyville village. It was like a model manufacturer's village long time ago, okay? So if you don't know who Eli Whitney is, let me tell you who he is. You may have heard something about a cotton gin or something like that, but let me tell you his story. Eli Whitney, right? He was born in Massachusetts, came to Connecticut, graduated Yale College, wanted to become a lawyer, but just kind of lacked the funds. So he got a job tutoring. He was asked to come down south by Kathleen Greene, who was the widow of General Nathaniel Greene, I think it was Rhode Island, you know, it's like New England, like general, right, one of the right-hand mans of George Washington. You know, a lot of people that left New England and actually went down to Georgia, their mayor or governor down there was a New England guy, and you know, they were inviting a lot of Connecticut people down there to Georgia. So he goes down to Georgia with the hopes of making some money as a tutor, maybe saving some money and going to law school and all that. And when he's down there, Kathleen Greene helps him out a lot, right? She supports him, encourages him, all that stuff, hooks him up with good business partners, because while he's down there, he notices something, right? There's this cotton, a special kind of like inland cotton down there called short staple cotton. It's inland cotton. It's very different than the coastal cotton, right? This inland short staple cotton has a lot of seeds in it that are very, very laborious and difficult to get out. Now, when he's down there on the Kathleen Greene's plantation, he notices that the slaves on the plantation could pick 50 pounds of cotton a day. However, they could only deseed about 1 pound of cotton a day. So there's the bottleneck, deseeding the cotton, all right, the short staple cotton. So he says, you know, what if I come up with this invention? Because he was like that. He was always tinkering with stuff in his life. What if I come up with an invention that will deseed the cotton? He comes up with cotton gin invention. The gin is short for engine, cotton engine, cotton gin. And this cotton gin can actually deseed 50 pounds of the short staple cotton every single day. And there's your bottleneck. Your bottleneck is gone. So he's thinking, all right, this would be great. I can, you know, create this thing, put this thing out there, and maybe there will be fewer slaves needed in the South. All right, and which is pretty cool. This is like really a huge impact on the Industrial Revolution. He doesn't realize how successful it's going to be, but it's super successful, right? It shoots cotton right up to the top. Cotton is king. It's going to make so much money for the United States, especially the South and this Cotton Valley. It's going to make so much money that the whole institution of slavery, which was becoming less and less profitable, has now become crazy profitable. And now that the cotton gin can deseed everything really quickly, the South wants more and more and more and more slaves for picking, right? They need more picking. And that's what you would call one of the unintended consequences of Eli Whitney, what he thought was good work. It actually pushed slavery to become more needed, more important, and not less like he thought. Unintended consequences. And it's going to create some sectionalism, and it's going to put us on the road toward the Civil War, okay? Crazy. Now, another thing happens with this cotton gin. You would think that he'd get really rich off of this thing, but he didn't, because the cotton gin was a very, very simplistic machine that a whole bunch of other people copied. And he spent all of his money pretty much fighting lawsuits and wasn't making any money off of the cotton gin, right? So at some point, he realizes, this is like the late 1700s, right? He realizes the United States have a lot of problems with the French, and we actually might go to a war with the French, and the military's looking for anybody who can produce guns real fast. And he figures, well, maybe I could do that, right? So he creates this thing. He tells the government he's got this thing called interchangeable parts, which is going to help him create a mass production. This is like 1798, way ahead of his time, way ahead of like Henry Ford, right? With the assembly line, interchangeable parts, mass production. This is Eli Whitney here in Connecticut doing this. Ford will work off of it. Many others will work after it later, right? And he's going to make, it's going to take a long time. It's not going to happen quick like he thought, but it's going to take a long time, but he is going to make this, all right? It's going to happen. This whole mass production, interchangeable parts, the American factory system, management system, all that stuff is going to happen. And then, in a way, this is good, all right? Because what's his legacy? His legacy, in some ways, is the Civil War, right? He unintentionally pushed the United States, the North against the South, marching toward the Civil War because of slavery, right? But with this mass production, interchangeable parts, weapons for the North, he's going to help the North win the war. Even though he'll be dead, but what he did is going to help the North win the war. So he marches the North and South unintentionally toward the Civil War, and then he's going to help the North win the war and end slavery. What a crazy legacy and really, wow, interesting, exciting legacy that this guy has, right? Now, so leadership. Here's what I got to say about leadership. Anytime you're being a leader, you're creating something, building something, you're making changes, you got to wonder, what are the unintended consequences, right? What are the unintended consequences? And he had no idea that he was going to be marching the United States toward the Civil War and making slavery so profitable that the South couldn't give it up, right? They were going to dig in their heels, right? He probably didn't know either that his weapons system of production was going to help the North win the war and end slavery. So, I mean, you got to really be thinking this as a leader. What are the unintended consequences? Listen, really appreciate you spending some time with me, hanging out here at the Eli Whitney Museum on the property here, right down on the road of Whitney Avenue in this very historic, charming little village called Whitneyville in Hamden, Connecticut. I'm not sure where I'm going to be next, but wherever it is, you know it's going to be great. Appreciate you spending time with me where I combine travel with history and with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. I will check you out again real soon. Y'all take care now.